you very much, Mr. Chairman. I understand your fear of having anyone record a vote in the process of this entire conference committee. I would just remind you, this is the United States Congress, not the Duma. This is a privileged motion under the rules of both the House and the Senate, and it ought to be considered. You know, there is considerable harm done by this bill, driving up the national debt to an incredible level that will allow you to use that as an excuse to undermine Medicare and educational opportunity and the entire social services net to protect people across this country, not to mention the effect on law enforcement and our national infrastructure. There is the great harm that you do in favoring those at the top at the expense of students, of those that are sick, of others that lose their deduction under this bill. That widening of the income gap is a great wrong. There is great wrong in the fact that you decide to create giant new loopholes in all these secret meetings you've been having, giant new loopholes that will lead to the outsourcing of more American jobs abroad that create an incentive for multinationals to move jobs abroad. But you know, all of these wrongs and the wrongs that I've heard my fellow colleagues talk about today and that I know others will speak about, they are not the greatest wrong that is occurring here. What we are seeing today with this authoritarian rule, with the kind of approach that is much closer to all those third world authoritarian figures that Donald Trump likes to be so close to, what we are seeing is a steady erosion of democracy here in the People's House and in this Congress. Republicans have decided it's a little bit easier to force through legislation if you don't conduct a public hearing on that legislation. And so when it came to taking away health care from millions of Americans, they chose not to have a hearing on the bill. And they've decided that it's a little easier, particularly with the Trump administration, if you never have any official from the administration with the courage to come and answer questions about the total hypocrisy between what the president tweets and what they're doing in this House, in this Congress. They have decided that it is a little easier to approve legislation if you don't allow members of the business community and academia and just ordinary citizens to come here and comment on this. And today, in the height of absurdity, minutes after they have announced that they have an agreed bill, we don't have that bill here. We're told to make speeches and ask questions to joint tax about a bill they have but they're not disclosing. We're to ask questions about a bill that was but it may not be currently the bill. What we do know is that this entire process is a great lie wrapped in a lie. It's a sneak attack on America.
All time has expired.